There we go. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. I think we're all a little like, we were just talking in the green room.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little loopy today. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those days. It's
Yeah.
just, you know.
And we had David Sedaris. We had a nice event with David Sedaris down in conjunction with Art Power and at the Balboa Theater. And he is just hilarious. There's just no other word for him. So it was very fun to have him talk about some other event things that are going on. But I think we'll kind of get right into it because I'm sure people who are on Facebook can always go back and look at the recording later. So the order of today is going to go Andrea, Amanda, Gabe, and I'll chime in with a couple of event things. So Andrea, take it away.
Okay. I have a big chunky book for you.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Wow. Okay. I'm having some problems making that straight on there.
That looks good.
3 by Valerie Perrin. And she's the author of Freshwater for Flowers, which Warwick's and many other indies did incredibly well with back in 2021. It sold over 25,000 in the States, which is pretty darn great for a book that got lost for a while in hardcover during the pandemic panic lockdown period. And then we caught up during the paperback. But anyway, this is her next one that's being published here. It's from Europa Editions, and I've talked about them many times on this session in the past. It's a $28 hardcover, and it is out tomorrow, friends. And there's a stack at Warwick's right now. And it's just a beautifully told and suspenseful tale about the ties that bind us and how we become who we are through the choices we make. And it's just extremely atmospheric as usual. She's got a way of creating ambiance and atmosphere. It's beautifully written and people are excited about it. And so Julie, you're very excited about it. You want to say anything?
Yeah, well, that one I for sure. But Freshwater for Flowers too. I'm so glad you brought that up because we just did that for our book club like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Best book club discussion we had in like 5 years was
Really?
about that book. Yeah, it was really good. And so 3, yeah. Amanda and I are both, I think, fans of hers. So can't wait.
That is so great that it was such a good discussion.
Yeah.
I think she's just a serious international star. This is translated from the French. But right. I can't wait to see where she goes in her career because she's not going to stop. She's just going to keep on going.
Well, so Freshwater for Flowers was it's French. But wasn't it during 2020 when it came out like the #1 Italian book?
Yes. So that's amazing that you remember that. Yeah. The Italians really got into it during lockdown.
Yeah.
And and that's the thing. It's like it's got global resonance. I mean, it sold well here when people figured it out that how great this book was. And we had a hard time keeping it in stock because of supply chain issues. So run down and get this right now because there's stock on it.
Exactly.
I'll have it.
That'd be a good. I some people like that. I like the big thick ones. I love the big thick books. I love them. But I've had a new appreciation for the short story and for the novellas. Sarita on here. I'm glad you liked Sparring Partners, the John Grisham. I loved it. I thought it was so good and so well done. And Andrea, I just finished Cat Brushing, which isn't out till August.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And I did see your recommendation that you sent out to other indie bookstores. So thank you.
I loved it. I'm finding an appreciation for the short story, which I've liked them before, but I'm maybe it's my old brain is liking them even more now. Well, but I still like the thick books.
Well, yeah. I mean, I started out really, my first love was short stories. And I know that Gabe feels the same way. He likes short stories a lot. and reads a
Yep.
lot of them.
Yep.
You know, it's a great form and it's super hard to master. So when
Yeah.
you latch on to somebody that like is really working that form well, got to go with it.
Okay, so Amanda's on here saying that the translator who translated for Valerie is the same person who translated the Europa Mirror Visitor Quartet. Oh yeah, really good. That's a really good
Yes.
quartet.
Oh
too.
yeah, I mean they're they know what they're doing. I mean it's all like literature and translation except for a few authors. So
Yep.
yeah, and that translator is good. So.
All right. Okay, Amanda, what you got for us today? I'm going to take a guess. Look, I want people to see my screen too. See if you
Did
can
you
see
get-
my screen.
Yeah. I mean, come on. So this is actually out today because James Patterson is so cool that he gets his own release day on Monday, not on Tuesday, like everybody else, because let's be honest, he's James Patterson. So here we have James Patterson by James Patterson. So this is his story, and he decided to write it himself, of course, as he does. And he has had an amazing life. He has worked with some amazing people when writing books as well. Of course, most recently, Dolly Parton, Bill Clinton. I mean, come on, the guy just knows everybody. He's so cool. So, I mean, what more do I need to say about this? It's James Patterson by James Patterson. You just need to read this because, well, it's James Patterson. So there we go. It's my stories in life.
All right, I'm gonna expand on it a little bit. So we'll go off screen here for a minute, or we'll take up. There we go. Guess who got to interview James Patterson?
I saw your post yesterday.
So fancy.
So fancy. So I did the interview for him for the events for Our Store, Book Passage, and Tattered Cover. He's, first of all, the book is so good. I mean, the book is really good. And there's a quote on here that says "a damn near addictive." Ron Howard gave him that quote. And it really is, because it's just the way James Patterson writes his books. It's just like this stuff that comes at you, but it's his stories. And it's like about the 60s and 70s and the music scene in New York and going to Woods. I mean, every story he tells, and he name drops all over the place, which is just fantastic. And it's super funny. And it was just, and because he's self-deprecating. I mean, he doesn't really take himself, it's really good. It's a quick, but it's funny and uplifting. And I loved it. And interviewing him was really fun today. So we'll be sharing the video of that later at some point.
It's a great package. It looks good. I just saw a New Yorker headline that said James Patterson is unapologetically rich.
Right. Right. No, he just is like, he goes, I was poor, I was middle class, I was poor, I was middle class again, and now I'm kind of doing okay. I like doing okay.
Doing okay. All right. Okay.
He's doing such great things with that money, though. I mean,
He
is.
he's a huge fan of the indies, his give backs, his
Right. Literacy
scholarship
programs, all of it.
His bookseller, like you were saying about his bookseller scholarships. He's doing that for libraries too. I mean, the guy really is a mensch.
No, he puts his money where his mouth is, and he is delightful. And I had so much fun interviewing him today. It was one of those kind of nerve-wracking things too, though. It's like, it's freaking James Patterson. What are they having, like Jules and Carl's back? I mean, the world is kind of his oyster. It's like, I'm sure they could have been. It's like, hey, I took it. It was like, hey, fun. It was fun. It was really fun. All right, Gabe, what do you got?
Got a book that goes on sale. What happened?
Where'd your screen go?
Where did my screen go? This is weird.
Uh-oh.
Give me half a second here.
All right.
My
What's the book? And we can start maybe talking about it. What's your first one?
You know what? Oh, my thing went away.
Uh-oh. Did you save it?
Oh, no, I had a stupid update when we got on. So I have an image This is what I'm talking about. I will share my screen as soon as I can remember how to get back here. Too many buttons. So the book I'm going to be showing you here is Mother Ocean, Father Nation. Goes on sale tomorrow by Nishant Patasha. This is a book that it's a really simple plot. There's not a lot to this plot. It is seen before. It's been done. Our author here just has I think a pretty strong telling, and I think we have to keep reading books like this to remind us of what's going on in the world. So it's a book that's all about colonialism and post-colonialism. And I know I probably talk a lot about that, but you know, it hasn't gone away. So what how this novel begins, essentially, there's a family in an island nation, somewhere in the Pacific, South Pacific, or out that way, and there's a military coup that topples the existing government, and nativists take control of the government, and they go all, you know, make this island whatever better. They get very reminded me a lot of Arundhati's Roy, God of Small Things, in that book had a lot of religious violence.
Mhm.
It was the Hindus and the Muslims, the Muslims being attacked by the dominant culture, which is what happens here. The Christians start attacking the others, and the two, a brother and sister. Bhumi is the sister and Jaipal is the brother. And Bhumi has a good friend whose father was part of the government, but now that that government is out of favor, that friend becomes a liability. So all of a sudden she's sort of involved with that family. So she's got to leave the island while her brother stays behind, and she bounces around the world until they all reunite. Ends up in California, but the whole novel is all about the vacuum that's left behind when the colonizer leaves. And it's the same thing that happened in Iraq. You create a power vacuum here and there, and when you leave, something's going to happen. It's going to be something drastic, and the people that are left holding the bag is the average citizen. So that's the run of the story. Obviously, a lot more details. The family dynamic is etched out. There's a father who's an alcoholic, who doesn't quite make it. The matriarch, who's the center of the family, and trying to keep things together, and the center and being the compass for the family. But the events are just too out of control, and people are forced to make these choices, such as leaving the place you're from, leaving your family, self-preservation, etc. So it's a really, really book that's it's a broad canvas, taking this small situation in a small island nation, but it is a global issue, and we see it. I mean, we see it every few years.
Yeah. Any comparison with God of Small Things is a good thing. I loved that book.
That's such a great book.
That's such a great book. So no, if it tackles some of that stuff, sounds like it's an interesting one. All righty, back to you, Andrea.
Okay. The second book I want to talk about is The Importance of Not Being Earnest: My Life with the Uninvited Hemingway. Great cover there. And this is by Mark Kurlansky. And he's the author of Cod and Salt, among other things. This is on sale last week, but I wasn't here. I was enjoying my long weekend and observing the Memorial Day weekend for those we've lost. And this is from Books and Books Press. So a fellow indie bookseller of some note down in Florida has a little book imprint now, and they're doing some interesting things that have to do, literary works that have to do with Florida in some way or another. And of course, as we know, Hemingway hung out and did a lot of drinking in Florida, did a lot of writing in Florida. made up one of the most interesting cocktails in the world, Death in the Afternoon in Florida. We can talk about that offline. This is a hardcover paper overboard, so there's no jacket. There's a stack of it at right now in the store at Warwick's, and I just wanted to show you some interiors here. There's some nice watercolors throughout. Okay, what happened? Come on, people.
Where are they? I saw one. There we go.
Here's one. There's a couple more. I don't know what happened to this, but there are watercolors throughout. Did I say that it was $24.95? And this basically is a very interesting, it's part memoir, but it's a really amazing and illuminating biography of Hemingway at the same time. So Kurlansky talks about his time spent writing in Paris and his time as a journalist in Spain. And those places were also important in Hemingway's life, of course. And so there are some interesting parallels. And so Kurlansky, talks about his life and then uses his life as a way to launch into the life of Hemingway. And it's getting great early reviews and great blurbs from authors. Here's one from Sigrid Nunez, who says, "For all that's already been written about Hemingway, the importance of not being earnest illuminates his life and works in a way not seen before." So that's, come on. I mean, how many books have there been on Hemingway? Like innumerable. But here we've got a new one that is turning people's heads. And it's nice to see that an indie bookseller, Books and Books, now as a press, Books and Books Press. So there you go. Importance of being earnest.
Okay, couple things. First of all, I think Mark Kurlansky taking on Hemingway would be a really interesting read because I love the way he takes on all of his subjects. So I think that, like you said, there's a lot of books about Hemingway, but I think Kurlansky's take on it's going to be really interesting.
Yep.
So that's exciting. And who knew? I didn't know Mitch had. So it's Mitch Kaplan, right? That's doing
Mitch Kaplan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his, he's got
his fingers in all kinds of stuff, doesn't he?
He sure does. He sure does. The guy, I don't think he sleeps.
Yeah.
But I am just excited to see what this does out in the world, and the reviews are going to be coming in, I'm pretty sure. So
you did say that, I think you said this, and as I was listening, that most of the books that imprint's going to do, or that press is going to do, is going to be Florida centric.
Yeah. That seems, it makes sense to me, since they're based in Florida.
Yeah. Right.
And then also,
but it's still got a broader appeal. I mean, there's all kinds of books that are set in Florida that has a broad appeal.
And I can see them, it's like, it will be regional, I mean, I can see them doing a book that's like got Cuban roots. I mean, beyond what, obviously Hemingway spent some time in Cuba.
Yeah.
But,
very cool.
So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Okay.
It's Kurlansky and Hemingway. I'll give Mitch Kaplan my money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I trust Mitch.
Here, Mitch.
I trust Mitch.
Hey, I know he's got a great voice.
Got that deep voice.
You really can't go wrong with this combo.
Well, and he's the one that started Winter Institute. I mean, Mitch is really one of those guys in the industry that has really he's kind of like how Patterson is with the booksellers and stuff, and his generosity. Mitch has always been looking at the indie channel and indie things and bookselling in a unique way that I think is really forward thinking. So
yeah, I agree.
Love it. Okay, Amanda.
What?
There we go.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was not gonna say it. I knew.
I caught myself. I caught it. Okay, so here we go. 10 Tomatoes That Changed the World by William Alexander. So the tomato does not get a whole lot of respect in history. Let's be honest. Accused of being vile and poisonous. I mean, come on. Every time you see someone like being a heckler, it's used as a projectile on people, right? So here we go. It is now, though, a very popular vegetable. Here we go. So every summer there's tomato festivals all over the place. I mean, everybody loves ketchup. I really do. I actually have ketchup right here
I
beside
really
my
do.
desk. Woo, ketchup. Because you never can have enough ketchup when you're having fries. So here we go. So this book really has been researched, is told, and it just kind of is a bit of history. There's some traveling around the world in this book. There's humor, and you're just basically following the tomato throughout history, with different stories, what's going on. I mean, the mafia is involved in this as well. Or, there's some mafia stories in here. And I mean, really, all you really need is a carb, tomato, and cheese, and you can pretty much have any amazing dish you want in the world. Pizza, bruschetta, a quesadilla with some pico. I mean, come on. That's all you need.
You got it.
A carb, a cheese, and a tomato, and you're set. So there you have it. The 10 Tomatoes That Changed the World by William Alexander, out tomorrow. And
Okay, talk to me about the package size on it. Is it
this is a regular. It's 8.5 by 5.
Okay, so
8.5 by
is
5.
it coming out trade paper, or is it a hardcover?
Hardcover, $27 hardcover.
Okay, so it's just a regular size. I wasn't sure if the trim was going to be more like cookbooky size, or if it was going to do anything like that.
No,
Okay,
just a regular book, hardcover.
Cool. I love the
History of
cover.
tomato.
The cover was
Right?
good. Yeah.
I mean, come on. It doesn't. I mean, the tomato is who doesn't love the tomato?
It was.
Well,
And you're right.
It's gonna sell. I mean,
Yeah.
how can you not be interested in that? It's gonna be a swift seller for you.
Right.
Yeah. I saw this. I immediately downloaded it off of our readers so I could read.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 10 tomatoes? This sounds fascinating.
Yep.
And he even talks about, like, there's like a $64 tomato. So he's the author of the $64 tomato. And he's known as the tomato guy. So, I mean, $64 for a tomato, damn, that better be
That better be a good tomato, man.
I just this year, I'm not a gardener. I'm not like anything like that. I mean, I do roses and stuff like that, but I planted my first tomato bush up there. So we're gonna see how that goes. The leaves are a little crinkly. I don't know if I have any like caterpillars eating them yet, but
First tomato plant ever. I love it. I want to see like updates.
Yes.
Oh my! I couldn't. If I took a picture right now, you guys would be going just like throw it away because it's such a sad little plant.
You can revitalize it. My lemon tree had he had some sort of crisis last summer where he turned completely brown, lost every single one of his leaves, and I had to nurture him back. And now he's thriving.
Okay.
Meyer has really big branches that's just waving out there.
I'll have to throw
a little TLC.
Well, we'll see what happens to my tomato. I will give you it might be a new blog post that I do. Jules's first tomato plant. Okay, Gabe, what do you got?
I got something exciting. I really like this next author, David Kemp, who is a Hollywood writer director. He's Hollywood Insider, writes a really fast-paced thriller. Cold Storage is such a good book that didn't get enough attention. I bring it up all the time. I try to stick a few copies into stores who it slides off. It just didn't get quite enough attention, but it's such a good book because he writes in the world of Michael Crichton. He inhabits that same kind of world. There's a science issue at hand, a crisis caused by something from the natural world. In this case, there seem to be these weird sunspots and things happening at the sun that maybe start to affect us. We have a great quote from Blake Crouch, and if you've never read Blake Crouch, he is a really fun speculative fiction author. It takes you to the edge of like science fiction there, but a really page turner. So in Aurora, David Kemp, does the same thing he did in Cold Storage. He gives us a really great plot, all the science-based sun science and the earth and how it's affected, how the sun affects us, and what is happening with the sun that is going to endanger us here in our world, and all done in this very tense, fast-paced narrative, but he also has these great elements of lightness in these books. So it's not just go, go, go. There's like goofy characters that bring a lot of humor into the book. So it's a really pleasant read. It really is. A David Koepp read is really a fun. You're going to be tense. You're going to want to keep turning the pages for sure, but you're going to enjoy there's a lot of like I said, a lot of light moments that are interspersed throughout the whole book from beginning to end. There's also a lightness. He's got a really great sense of humor. I would imagine that he's got a great sense of humor, because this book is just so just fun. He's
Good.
just a fun guy to read. As was Cold Storage, Deborah read that and was, how come that didn't do better? It's like, it's still like, it's a tough category. There are a lot of.
But we have somebody on Facebook, Gabe, Kim. She loved Cold Storage, and she
Oh, you're gonna
recommends
love
it to
this one.
people all the time.
Oh, good. He's great, right? I mean, he's just so much fun. He's
Yeah.
an enjoyable read. And like I said, his sense of humor leads me to think he'd be a fun dude to hang out with,
Yeah.
have a couple beers with.
No, it looks, and
Obviously has a good-
this sounds like it'd be a good like summer book to read, because it's just like
yeah.
it's got just like fast, but yet has a topic. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's perfect right now for summer. I think it'll catch on, and then you're going to be buying it for grandpa or your dad
Right.
or your uncle or your aunt.
Yeah.
For Christmas, the holidays. I think it'll be a great holiday gift.
Yeah, love it. All right, okay, lightning round. Andrea, what you got?
Up, time's up.
Oh, 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 oh. We're muted. We're muted. Did she hear me?
I don't think she can hear us.
No, I can hear you. Sorry, I just couldn't find my little unmute button.
Time's up, Gabe. One second.
Lightning round, man.
Okay, 1 second. You're out.
Come on. It's a tough crowd. Okay.
The music starts playing quick here.
I want to talk about My Life at the Bottom, the story of a lonesome axolotl, which is a creature named by the Aztecs, as you can tell by that name. And it's a great kids book. It was out earlier in May 24th. It's a hardcover, 1995. And it's the story of a little axolotl who narrates the book, who may or may not be the last of his species. And he goes through and tells the story of how it started at the beginning of time, and how love was in the air and everything. Everything started out pretty great. And he had a lot of people to play with, a lot of different sorts of creatures to play with at the bottom of this lake outside of Mexico City. And then the big lugs, aka Homo sapiens, show up and cause some problems. And pretty soon there's not as many chances with all the creatures. His friends start disappearing. More big lugs show up, and he talks about this whole here's doing selfies.
I love the illustrations are awesome.
Your illustrations are great, and I have to tell you, like, that the charm of this book, beyond how amazing the illustrations are, is our narrator is awesome and endearing and so sweet, and you instantly become a champion of his cause. And so this does deal with climate change.
Environment,
Yep, it deals with the environment and climate change, but has it's harrowing, but then it does have a hopeful ending where some big waves come and like deposit him in a better spot. But there's, as you can see, it's not good. It's not good. And the big lugs are affected too.
I'm going to refer to people as a big lug from now on.
Yeah.
That's
And then everything's quiet, but it does have a hopeful ending. And I just think that this character creates so much goodwill while telling the story to kids, conveying some hard truths about climate change to kids. It will be great for teachers. It'll be good for parents who want to, parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles who want to, talk about climate change with kids. But the story is just so great. My Life at the Bottom, the story of a lonesome axolotl. I mean, come on.
Come on.
I
Come
love
on.
that animal. It's so cute. And like at first I was like, wait, this is a real animal? And it is a real animal.
Yes, it's a real animal who is like really endangered. And this one, he thinks he might be at the end. He might be the last one. He's not sure because there's just no one else around. But like, look at his face. And
He's so cute.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I know this is lightning round. I'm sorry, Gabe. I know I'm getting gonged. I'm getting gonged, but it's so cute.
It's
Very
really
cute.
cute. It was worth the extra time. There's only 3 of us
Very
today,
cute.
so it's all, or there's 4 of us, 3 of you, I should say. So it's all good. All right, Amanda, what you
Very
got?
cute.
All right, so here you go. So for my lightning round, I have from Steve Berry, the Omega Factor. So here we go. Nicholas Lee works for the United Nations as a cultural liaison and investigative. And his job is to protect cultural artifacts, and that could be anything and everything from small little trinkets to national treasures. So when he travels to Belgium to visit a woman from his past, he stumbles upon the trail of the legendary missing panel from the Ghent altarpiece that was stolen in 1934. And never to be seen again. So all of a sudden, Nick is plunged into this conflict that has been brewing for 2,000 years. So on one side, we have the Maidens of St. Michael, which is a secret order of nuns and guardians of a great truth. And also pitted against them is the Vatican, who has for centuries wanted to possess what the nuns guard. And so because of Nick, the Maidens have been exposed, and now their secrecy is in jeopardy. And so the Vatican swiftly moves in because they want to get whatever the nuns have. So perfect for your Dan Brown fans. I mean, come on, it's right up their alley. It is action-packed. It is, I love the, this kind of history and legends kind of, are they true? Are they not? What's going on? But so yeah, there you go. The Omega Factor. And she's got a really cool title too. The Omega Factor. That's just a really cool title.
It's a good title. But it's also, okay, so I can't remember what I was like, because I look at so many things. I look at so much stuff like that's just book related, and I can't remember, but it was just in the past couple of days that somebody was asking for like a good recommendation for another person that, writes sort of like, and somebody's put him in the same kind of category as like a Grisham, as far as like their, his way of telling a story and his legal background and how he does stuff. I mean, Steve Berry's a really good storyteller, and he tells, I love that he does, he takes these little nuggets of history and then just like expands on them. I mean, the Amber Room, I think I read of his a long time ago. I've read a couple of Steve Berry's. He's really good. And if you haven't read him yet, take a chance and pick this one up, because, and then you've got a whole backlog to go on of his other books. So I like Steve Berry.
Yeah, and this is a standalone, so it's not connected to anything else that he's done before.
Well, even the other ones, though, you can kind of read on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's what Cotton Malone or whatever his name is. Yeah. I mean, so you could still pick up what's happening with him, but yeah. I love Steve Berry. So glad you brought that one up.
There you go.
All right, Gabe, what you got?
Yeah, that's my kind of book, Toad. I'm surprised I haven't seen that already in my mail.
Yeah, hint, hint.
Right,
I
hint,
mean,
hint. Well,
I
I'm
made
sorry,
I
flashed
made
over
Dan
here.
Brown for that.
I feel like every week there's like a little hint, hint.
Hint,
On
hint.
some
I think
titles.
Father's Day's coming up.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I love those Vatican. My sister and I have read all those. I mean, since like when the Da Vinci Code came out,
Right.
We read all those way before that, and Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and like
Yeah. Oh,
when
really
we were in
good.
college.
That was really good. Holy Blood.
That
Holy
was
Grail
good.
was really good. Yeah.
And so I love this kind of stuff. And I've read a bunch of the Cotton Malones.
Yeah.
I always found he sometimes went on a little long.
Yeah.
But this one sounds really great. This is like straight up my alley. So I'm going to talk about 2 books because it's lightning round. So After Parties, everybody knows about. Instant New York Times bestseller, winner of the National Book Critics Circle's John Leonard Prize for Best First Book, winner of the Ferrero Grumley Award for LGBTQ fiction, named Best Book of the Year by the New York Times, NPR, Washington Post, LA Times, Kirkus, New York Public Library, Chicago Public Library, Harper's Bazaar, Atlantic. Great collection of short stories. None of the stories repeat. And the comparison, Breeze the Pancake. I think that he's going to be around in one book, and in 30 years, 40 years, people will be picking up this book and reading it still. It's that kind of short story collection. And then The Hidden Palace by Helene Weckler. It's the second book in the Golem and the Djinn series.
Oh,
And
okay.
it is out. They're both out tomorrow. Good paperbacks. One's a short story collection. One's a very atmospheric, fantastical, otherworldly novel that will do really, really.
Sitting right next to me is the Golem and the Genie.
There it is.
There it is.
Which
I
and both of
read
them
the
very
second
well.
The second one, I loved the Golem and the Genie, but I never read the second one. I got to pick that one up.
It's really strong too.
Yeah, I got to get that
It's
on my
really
list.
strong.
All right. I got to see. We've got some great virtual events this week. So if you're in the mood to pop in and see us virtually, and we've got some really good virtual events coming up later. So check out our website and look at some of the stuff we've got going on. Geraldine Brooks towards the end of the month, Daniel Silva, Mohsen Hamid. And then we got some live stuff coming in the fall that we're excited about announcing. So, and who knows, me and my best friend now, James Patterson,
Bring
The
them out.
name dropping, Jules. The name dropping.
I learned from the master. I learned from the master name dropper. I mean, literally, it's like, it's so funny. It's just like, there's so many. It's just like, it was classic. So loved it. All right, everybody. Another good week of Rex. Happy reading. And we will see you all on Monday.
Bye,
Ciao.
everybody.
Ciao. Be like tomatoes. Ciao.
Ciao, bellos.